To win many games in chess, we need to be able to spot weaknesses in the enemy camp. Once a certain weakness is identified, we then exploit and attack towards that weakness. By targeting it, the opponent will transition to defense, especially if the attack is something serious. This continuous act of attacking weaknesses leads to an aggressive play, and soon the opponent will be prone to making mistakes and lose. One of the weaknesses that is common in practical play is back rank weaknesses. Many amateurs often overlook this, but it is important to note that if a player becomes sensitive to this kind of weakness, he becomes more of an initiator rather than just someone who plays passively. In this video, we'll talk about back rank weaknesses, or back rank exploitation. A weak back rank exists if a king, most of the time castled either kingside or queenside, is trapped behind its own pawn shield, pieces, or sometimes squares controlled by the opponent. Then the king can only move sideways, and if left alone, an enemy rook or queen delivers a checkmate. So how do we take advantage of enemies' weak back rank? If it exists, now in order for us to capitalize on that, to be more sensitive in this kind of situation or on the positional setup on the board, we need to start with, as mentioned, we need to be able to spot if a certain situation potentially exists. Just like in this position, we can say that black has a potential weak back rank here on the 8th rank, since his king is trapped behind its pawns here in the king side. But this back rank is not totally weak at all, as the 8th rank is still being guarded by the rook. And also there is a knight on f6 that is keeping an eye to the square on the e8. Now, but this back rank is something that white needs to consider, especially if the position becomes more intense in the upcoming moves. Now, if for example, black blunders with the move rook to e8. Now, if rook to e8 is being played here, for example, to attack the queen, but this is a blunder because white will just sacrifice with queen takes rook there, after knight takes e8, and we have rook takes e8, checkmate, since black king doesn't have any square to go. Now, in this kind of position, the queen sack worked because of black's weak back rank. So how do we exploit a weak back rank or a back rank weakness? Oh, there are many answers to this question, but today we'll talk about the most common ways to deal with the potential back rank weaknesses and make them real ones. First, when an enemy king fails to create a loft out of procrastination, break through it. Now, what is a loft? A loft is actually a German word which means air. So to speak, it means a breather or a room to breathe like space. In chess, it means a room for the king to run to. Let us take a look at this position. In this position, black plays h6. Now, this move is primarily to prevent white from pinning the knight here by bishop to g5. And secondly, it serves as a loft, a room for king here on the h7, so that when the back rank won't be considered a weakness, or so that the back rank won't be a weakness in case the knight on f6 and even the rook leaves this 8th rank. So it has nothing to worry for black later in the game. So what if the opponent fails to create a loft? Now we have higher chance of success of exploiting a weak back rank by breaking through. In other words, see if there is enough defender for the opponent. If there is, then this will only be a potential weakness. Not yet time, right? If the opponent lacks defense, then a breakthrough will succeed. Let us consider this another position here. White moves his king to c1. Maybe the idea is, or the plan is to play rook to d1 to challenge this rook on the d file. But black plays queen to d2, king b1, and now there is a strong piling up of rook and queen on the d file versus a lone rook on this first rank. And therefore, breaking through with the queen sack works here. Queen to d1 check, rook takes queen, rook takes d1 checkmate. Here, white plays queen to a4, attacking the bishop on a7. And at the same time, a checkmate on e8 is being eyed by this queen. This is a weakness on the 8th rank for black. Now, checkmate is possible because there are only 2 defenders for black before this queen a4 move. Now, after queen a4 move by white, attackers became 3 and 2 rooks here, 1, 2, and the addition of the queen. Now, if black wants to avoid checkmate, he needs to give up his bishop on a7. And this is losing for him anyway. Another way to exploit a back rank if the opponent fails to create a luft is to remove or reduce the defender to breakthrough. In this position, the rook on f1 looks solid in defending this weak first rank. And black sees an opportunity of removing the defender by playing queen to f2. Of course, if white captures the queen with rook takes queen, there is rook e1 check, rook f1, rook takes rook, and checkmate. If queen f4 is replied here by white, black will simply take the queen, queen takes f4. Still, the rook on f1 cannot recapture the queen because it will be a no defender for this first rank, and still there is checkmate luring around. So he can't recapture the queen. Now, what happens if the rook here moves to the right side of the board, for example, rook to a1? Then this was covered in the previous point where black will just simply break through with queen to e1, or maybe rook to a1. Either way, rook takes rook, checkmate on the first rank. If white moves his rook to the left side of the board to g1, then there is still rook to e1. Now what happens thereafter? Now, there's nothing white can do here to avoid checkmate, because taking the rook, queen takes rook, checkmate, or any other move, this move here, capturing the rook, is inevitable for him. So this is a lost game for white. Here, we can see another piling up of rooks for black and weak back rank for white. But there are 2 rooks for white here guarding the first rank. This is one, and then the one here. How will black able to proceed and break through? Well, that is to remove one of the defenders. And the move queen to x, queen takes a1 here looks brilliant, because by playing this move, the piling of rooks on the f file suddenly becomes a monster. Since after rook takes a1, and there is rook f1 check, rook takes f1, rook takes f1, and checkmate. Now, maybe some of you might think, what if after rook takes, queen takes a1, white will throw a desperado move, queen takes f7. Well, black will just simply take this g1 rook first, check, king takes queen, and rook takes f7. And ends up for black having an extra rook here with an extra move, and this is going to be a winner for black. This next position is something like a combination of the first 2 points that we have introduced. Here, black has a potential weak back rank as he fails to create a loft. Now, there's bishop fianchettoed on b7, but that is a concern now because of white's bishop on a6, creating pressure in it. So there's also black's rook here as a defender and trying to attack the queen. Now, white will remove the defender, plus a discovered attack on black's weak back rank, and that is queen takes e8. Now, knight takes e8 here, And then there's a discovered attack of knight c6, check. Either way, bishop takes knight or queen takes knight here will be the same lost game for black because there is rook to d8 check, checkmate. Now thanks to white's d2 rook keeping an eye on the weak 8th rank, and at the time the disconnected rooks from black. Another way to exploit a weak back rank is to cover the luft or keeping an eye on it. Now, in this next position right here, after black's move b7 to b5 here, attacking the bishop on a4, the logical move here, or the most logical move, so to speak, is bishop to c2. Now, covering the h7 square here for black, so that this luft will be something that is pointless for black for the meantime. Now, so if black's protection on 8th rank becomes insufficient, for example, this knight will move somewhere, knight to e7, then we have a weak back rank automatically for black, and this bishop to c2, which could patrolling this luft here, a diagonal so strong, is going to be the best logical move for white to cover this luft on h7. Here, white plays the move bishop to h6. Now, the idea is simple: to keep black's king stuck in the 8th rank. So, king will not have the access here in the f8 square. Now, this is something that is a powerful move here because maybe in the first few positions that has happened, there is a fianchettoed bishop here, and that has been exchanged for some other pieces, and now black has dark square weaknesses. Now, after bishop h6, the king has been limited, and now black has been labeled, or black has labeled a weakness at the back rank. Now, if black does not react, then therefore, this rook to e8 becomes checkmate, and something that is black should consider, and that is something that has pressure on him, or put a pressure on him. So this bishop h6 really is something that is useful move. Whenever you see a luft, try to cover it or try to keep an eye on it so that you can label a weakness or a back rank weakness on your opponent. Now that you've learned how to exploit back rank weaknesses, time now to test your skills. White has a weakness in the back rank. Now black's turn here. Can you play the best move here for black? Now you can pause the video and grab the win for black. Alright, congratulations if you saw the move rook takes d5. Now this is actually removing the defender through decoy. If white recaptures the rook here, of course, that will be leaving this first rank unattended. So black will be up a piece and wins the game. In this next position, can you guess the best move for white? Go ahead and try it. Congratulations if you said rook f to e4. Wait, am I going to give up my queen? This is a free queen right here. Well, yes, because there is a checkmate here. There's weaknesses. If queen takes queen, okay, black, but there's a checkmate on the 8th rank, and rook takes rook, and checkmate. In this last test, can you play the brilliant move for white? Alright, thank you for your answers. This one is one of the most beautiful tactics on exploiting a weak back rank. Well, the best move here is queen takes f7, making loose of the defender here, the rook on f8. Now, after rook takes f7, then there is rook to d8. And this rook here is forced to go back to f8. Now we have bishop to d5, king h8, and rook takes f8, checkmate. So there you go. It all boils down to spotting a weak back rank and do something to exploit or capitalize on it. I hope you can practice it and apply it to your games. If you learned from this video, please hit like and subscribe button for more updates and chess videos.
Hey, check this video out to make sure that you get more important information to bring your chess to the next level.